10:21 on Sports Radio 950. KJR. Dick Fain with you. In for Softy until 1 o'clock. 286-9595, the numbers. Pound 950, 800-829-0950. The Sonics have already sold 100 season tickets in July, tripling what they normally do. Certainly is not as a result of the season they had last year. Maybe some of it as a result of the last 2 months of the season when they certainly looked like a better basketball team, but not as a result of the season as a whole. Brian Burns came on, Vice President of Sales and Marketing, last week with me and said he saw the spike right away in the first 24 hours after the sale. And my question to you is, if you've already bought season tickets as a result of this sale, I want to know why. If you are planning on it, I want to know why. If you're not planning on it, if you have a greater chance of buying season tickets or a few single game tickets this year, I want to hear from you. If you have less of a chance to buy single game tickets or season tickets this year, I want to know why. 286-9595, pound 950 and 800-829-0950. Let's hit it. Lane, you're first up on 950 KJR. What's going on, Lane?
Hey, I was just thinking, this season ticket spike. I'm just wondering if people aren't doing it just to be part of the last year maybe or something. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, that could be one of the reasons, certainly, that, they don't think they're going to see Sonic basketball anymore. But from the mentality of Seattle sports fans, I don't think people will be buying season tickets at a greater rate just because they think the team's going to leave. Do you? I mean, I don't see the way the Seattle sports fan's heart works. It's not necessarily a loyal heart. And if you think a team's going to leave, do you think they're just going to desperately want to watch basketball for 12 more months, and that's the reason they buy season tickets?
Well, I just think because of the 40-year history,
Yeah.
I just think maybe they want to just jump on it and be part of it and say goodbye,
And so, yeah, and
could be sentimental reasons, could be, just to say I was there,
Yeah, I was there for the death of the franchise. So I appreciate it. Lane. I mean, it could be. I mean, I don't necessarily think that's the case. I don't think there's a whole lot of sports nostalgia in this town compared to some other towns. If there is a team that has a lot of nostalgia, it would be the Sonics, because a majority or quite a very, very good percentage of the people that live here in this city don't know what it was like not to have Sonic basketball. I mean, you would have to have lived here for 40 years. And I know there's people out there that have lived in Seattle for 40 years. Hey, I've lived here for 32 years. So I know there's people who lived out there for 40 or more. But I think it's probably safe to say the majority of you out there have not lived in this city, either haven't lived for 40 years or haven't lived in this city for 40 years, because there's been a heck of a lot of transplants over the last 20 years, so you don't know even what it's like. I don't know what it's like not to have Sonic basketball. Rich in Edmonds, you're on 950 KJR. What's up, man?
Well, a couple issues. First of all, I think the term 100 season tickets seems a little inflated because people buy tickets in 2 or 4 seat bunches. So I think your numbers are closer to 20 to 30 people that are buying season tickets. It's not a big group of people. But it's still triple what they've normally done. And I think that's the bigger numbers, that it's not necessarily the 100. I think the bigger number to talk about is triple of what they normally sell at this time of the year. No, I agree. And July is perennially the slowest year because the championship has just ended. So no one's really thinking about season tickets at that point.
No question.
Secondly, I think it's not nostalgia because I think people are sick of NBA basketball and they're tired of the Sonics. I think for the most part, there's a few people out there. It's an investment in case there's a new arena. And if there's a new arena, by any chance, they're going to have better seats in that arena than the people that are going to buy season tickets later on.
That is a great comment. And in fact, you are echoing what Brian Burns told me last week on the air that he felt was the case. And he actually heard from a few of the new season ticket holders, and that is the reason that a few of them signed up, because, hey, you've got a situation now where there's not a huge season ticket base for the Seattle Supersonics. Certainly great seats available, as they say. So if you can jump in now and you honestly believe that there's going to be a new arena, which I believe there is going to be a new arena. I think I'm in the minority on this radio station, but I believe there is going to be a new arena, probably in Bellevue. then you've got yourself a prime hot ticket seat when that new arena opens, because you've put some money up front and are willing to stick with Key Arena for the last couple of years.
Right, and if there's no arena, you've only lost 1 year's worth of season tickets.
Absolutely. Are you planning on getting, maybe not season tickets, but are you planning on buying more or less or the same amount as you usually do?
I'll go to the same amount of games as I've always gone to and hope that they stay.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate the phone call. 286-9595. Pound 950, 1-800-829-0950. I mean, that's kind of what I'm hearing from the powers that be in the Sonics organization, is that some people are buying tickets simply because they see it as the risk reward is, the risk is pretty low and the reward is pretty high, because you've got a franchise whose average ticket price is 28th in the NBA out of 30. So no one out there can blame the Sonics for high ticket prices. If you want to blame the NBA for high ticket prices and say, hey, the NBA is pricing me out, I can't afford to go to games, hey, I understand that. That's fine. But make sure you know where you're placing your blame, where you're directing your venom. And you direct your venom at the NBA and the NBA business model. You don't direct it at the Sonics, because the Sonics are doing everything they can to keep prices reasonable. Only 2 teams in the NBA have cheaper tickets than the Seattle Supersonics. So they can't lower ticket prices. And that's one of the things that I read from who was it, Danny Westmead in the Times this week. I mean, just showing ignorance. Complete ignorance when he's talking about, the cynicism about the stadiums. We've been down this road before. Here's an idea. What if the new owners defied all our expectations and actually tried to win us over by lowering ticket prices? Come on, what do you want them to do? What do you mean lowering ticket prices? They're 28th out of 30. You can't. It's a business still. They got to make some money. What do you want them to be 30th out of 30? Would that force you to go to more games, Danny, if they were lowered ticket prices by $1 a ticket and they were 30th in the NBA out of 30? Would that make a lot of difference to you? I don't think it would. Jerry in Olympia, you're on 950 KJR.
Hello. I've never called in, and I want to thank you for the opportunity.
You bet.
I just wanted to weigh in and let you know, from my perspective, I have rarely missed a game, either on television or in person or radio, in almost the 40 years.
Wow, really?
And,
well, good for you. I'm glad that there's somebody out there that is, that we've got some hardcore 40-year loyal Sonic fans out there. That's good to hear.
Well, and the cynicism I really don't understand, because I will tell you that I went through the Sonics camps when I was a youngster, and then I have 3 sons, and I sent all of them through the Sonics camps. They went all the way through. I think they each went like 4 or 5 years. And the Sonics in person have always treated us just tremendously, and I've never felt like the ticket prices were too high. I just have had, and I'm really not a rose-colored glasses type of guy. I can just tell you, from my perspective, I would be so sad to lose them, because they have meant so much to my family. My youngest son's in college basketball now because of that. They trained them really well when we were in the camps up there. I can't say a negative thing. Every one of the workers, I've met a lot of the players and coaches, and they've always treated us with utmost respect. I've just really, really had a tremendous experience this many years.
Well, I gotta echo that, because I appreciate it, Jerry. And are you gonna you got season tickets for this year?
Well, I live in Olympia. But
oh, wow. So you still go to a few games, though, right?
We can't see them all, but we go to as many games as we can, and then the rest we watch on TV or listen on the radio. I mean, you got Kevin Clabber, who's the best in the business, and, everything's good as far as I'm concerned. I just love the Sonics. Even though, they've had their ups and downs with players, I've always followed them. I've gotten enjoyment out of every one of them.
Well, let's get an arena down in Lacey. How about that?
What's that?
Let's get an arena down in Lacey or Tumwater. How about that?
I'd have season tickets.
All right, man. We'll talk to you. Thanks a lot, Jerry. And I agree with Jerry. I echo Jerry's sentiment, because I grew up as a Sonic fan. I went to Dale Ellis basketball camp in 1987 when I was an 8th grader. I got to play horse against Dale Ellis at the Kennedy High School gym. It was awesome. A bunch of my friends came with me. I've gone to a ton of games. And then over the last, I've covered the Sonics